Hi, 5th graders. Today's topics are algebraic division, decimals, numerals, and multiplying mixed fractions. It's going to be a while, so let's get started. So we're going to start off with algebraic division. So for the rule is when you're dividing algebraic equations, you're multiplying the product with 1 over the dividend, which is basically dividing the product with the dividend. So if you don't understand, you'll understand as I show it along. So let's get started on number 2. Number 2 gives us 12,000 over x equals 30. And 12,000 over x is the same thing as 12,000 over x. 12,000 slash x is the same thing as 12,000 over x, which is the same thing as division. So we want x to be alone, right? So the only way to get x alone is by getting rid of 12,000, and the only way to do that is dividing this expression right here by 12,000 itself. And this dividing by 12,000 is the same thing as multiplying by 1 over 12,000. Okay? And when we're multiplying 12,000 divided by 12,000, we both get just 1. So we're going to put 1 right here and 1 right here. Now we're going to multiply across. So 1 times 1 is just 1. 1 times x is just x. So we're given 1x. Now we bring it over here, 1x, right? And if we divide this side by 12,000, then we also have to multiply the right side by 12,000. It's a rule, right? And when you're plugging this into your calculator or just simplifying, you get 1 over 400, okay? 400. And over here is still 1 over x. So with this, from here, you're doing butterfly method. So x times 1 equals 1 over 400, okay? And x times 1 is just x, and if it equals 1 times 400, then it will be x equals just 400, and that's your answer for number 2. Let's move on to number 6. It gives us 2400 over x equals 40. If you want a visual representation, here it is, 2400 over x, right? Now we want x alone, and once again, the only way to do that is by dividing the whole expression by 2400. And when you do, you get 1 right here because you cancel it out, right? And you get just left with 1s. And once again, you're going to multiply across, so you get 1 times 1, 1, and 1 times x, which is just x. So we're given 1x right here. Now, same as here, we're going to also divide 40 by 2400, and we should get, let me use my calculator, 40 divided by 2400, you should get 1 over 60. Once we get up to here, once again, we're going to do the butterfly method, so 1 times x and 1 times 60. 1 times x is x, 1 times 60 is just 60, so x equals 60, and that's your answer for number 6. Let's move on to decimals. Okay, so you need to read up here. The first decimal place, the number after the decimal point, is the tenths. The second decimal place is the hundredths. The third decimal place is the thousands. So as you go down, or as you get farther, the value decrease, okay? You have to keep that in mind. And there's way more numbers after this, but these are the main 3 that you should know. So for number 4, we're given 7.39, 6.54, and 7.38. So they want us to list the decimals from least to greatest. So let's find the least decimal first, since that's very easy. We're both given 7 point, but this one is only 6 point, and we all know that 6 is less than 7. So obviously your least decimal will be 6.54. Okay, now let's find the greatest. We said that 7 to 7 is the same, okay? And then we get the decimal point, and we get to the 10th place, right? And once again, the 10th place is for both 3. So we have to move on to the next place, which is the hundredths place. and we see that we're given 9 here and 8 here. And when you go back to your numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 8 comes before 9, so 8 is obviously less than 9. So your greatest decimal would be 7.39. So when we get the least and greatest, it's easy to put it in order when you're given 3 decimals. So your least was 6.54, and we said the greatest was 7.39, but before that we have to put 7.38, then we could put the greatest, which is 7.39, and that's your answer for number 4. Now let's move on to number 9. We're given 9.09, 9.01, and 9.2. So let's look again. This time all the ones place are 9, 9, 9, right? And for this one, the tens place right here is 0, 0, and 2. What did I say up for this one? As you go farther along, you get smaller degrees or values of the decimal. So your greatest decimal will obviously be 9.2, okay? Because the tens place is much more greater than the hundredths place, okay? Now let's find the least decimal. So for these two, up to the tens place, everything is the same. Then we get to the hundredth place, and this one is 9, and this one is 1. We all know that 1 is much less than 9, so we're going to put right here 9.01 as the least decimal. Oops. And so it wants us to put in least greatest once again. So we're going to put 9.01, and then before 9.2, we're going to put 9.09, and then the greatest, which is 9.2. And that's going to be your answer for number 9. Okay? Let's move on to numerals. So we have to write these numbers written in word form into numerical form. So number 5 is we are given 772 and 33 thousandths, okay? So we can just guess that the and is going to be our decimal point, okay? And these are going to be the numbers before the decimal point, and these are going to be the numbers after the decimal point, okay? So 700, obviously that's going to be our top number, so 7. Then we're given 72, so 70 is 70, so we're going to put right here in the second place, and then 2, which is the ones place, okay? And we said that and was the decimal point, so we're going to put the decimal point right there. And when we look closely here, we don't want to make the mistake of putting 33, okay? Because that's not 33 thousandths, that's 33 hundredths, okay? Because the 33 thousandths, as I told you right here, it's the third decimal place. And if we put it just like this, it will be the second decimal place, which is the hundredths. So we need to put a 0 for the tens place to make this number written in words into numerical. Now we're going to multiply mixed fractions. So we're going to do number 1 and number 9 together. Number 1 gives us 14 times 7 over 3. If you want a visual, it would be 14 over 1 times 7 over 3. This one we're just going to go straight across. 14 times 7, if you put it in your calculator, you get 98, okay? And then we're going to go straight across for the denominator. 1 times 3, just 3. And when you look at these numbers and plug it into your calculator, you'll still get 98 over 3. So that's going to be your most simplified version of your answer, and that's your total answer, okay? Now, let's move on to number 9. 9 times 2 over 36. So once again, here's a visual representation. 9 times 2, it's 18. 1 times 36, 36. Now for this one, when you plug it into your calculator or simplify it, you should get the answer of 2. And that's going to be your final answer. Half is going to be your final answer for number 9. So when you're doing multiplication with fractions, you have to be careful with simplification, okay? And that's all I have for today.